Hey everyone, welcome back to our video courses, our ESL Ventures Level 3. We are going to continue on with our review, and we are going to start reviewing Unit 2. Alright, so what we will be doing in these videos for the review is to start working in our workbooks. So it's going to be the workbooks, and we're going to go over some of the lessons in there. So for Unit 2, we were talking about at school, all right, and more specifically, we're talking about study problems and solutions, all right. So we're going to be talking about maybe some of the issues that we have when we're trying to study for class, right, for English class. And now, you would think that before, when we were really busy and going places, going to work and going here and there, we had some study issues and some study problems. Now that we're at home, we have different study issues, right? Different problems that come up that prevent us from having good study times for English, right? So let's jump into this. We'll try to modify this as we go to fit some of the issues that we're facing today. All right. Okay, so let's get started. All right, Unit 2 review at school. Let's talk about some examples of study problems. Okay, maybe some examples of study problems are number one, no time to study, right? I don't have any time to study. I have a busy life from the time I wake up until the time I go to sleep. And usually I wake up early and I go to bed late, right? And during that time, I don't have any time to study. I can understand that. Don't understand the lesson, right? So sometimes, especially now, where we're not meeting in person, and it's hard to ask questions. Sometimes you don't even know the questions to ask, right? And you don't understand why you're having a problem. You can't really talk about it, especially in English, right? It's hard to understand the lesson, and it's hard to get help, right? So when it's hard, when you don't understand the lesson and it's hard to get help, it's easy just to say, oh, I'll just come back to it later, or I'll just skip it, right? No place to study. So if we're at home trying to find a little place of our own that might be quiet and peaceful, right, from other people, that might be hard to do, right? Sometimes I've even seen people leave their house and go out into their cars, right, or go outside and take walks just to have a place to think and maybe make a phone call or read a book, or even just to have some peace and quiet, right? And that brings me to the next one, right? No peace from my kids, my spouse, or my family, right? People just want you to do things, or they want you to look at this, or they want to talk to you, or they want you to do something, right? And or you have something to do for them, right? Like cook or clean or do your chores, or whatever it is, and you just can't find any peace, right? Peace and quiet from your kids, or from your spouse, husband or wife, or boyfriend or girlfriend, or your family. All right, have a hard time concentrating, right? I can understand that too. Sometimes we have, we think of we have things to do, and we have to switch our concentration, right? So one thing might be to do some planning for the budget, right, or for money. And now I have to switch my mind and start thinking about English, right? And that can be hard sometimes, right? No dictionary, right? Um, that's less of an issue now because there's dictionaries on our phones, and translators on our phones and computers. So that's a little bit less of a problem these days. But the next one, feel disorganized, that can be a big problem, right? Because we have so many different things we have to do, and we have to keep them all organized. And sometimes, even for me, I mean, sometimes you lose track of the days. Like, what day is this, right? Is this Tuesday, Friday? I think I have a good understanding when Sunday and Monday, those 2 days. But sometimes I lose days during the week, right? Tuesday through Saturday, right? They all feel like the same, right? And so when that happens, we can easily feel disorganized. Like, oh, did I forget something? Did I miss something? I put it on my calendar, but I forgot to look at my calendar, and oh no, right? So that's a big thing. And then the last one is huge, right? It's big. Know when to practice English, right? So if everybody in the house speaks a native language and you're trying to learn English, there's no one to practice with. And you might want to talk to them, but if you get something wrong, they won't be able to correct you, and they won't be able to help you with things that you don't understand, right? So we have to wait until we get a reply back from an email, we get a reply back from WhatsApp, or we have to wait until our Zoom calls. And then sometimes those are so short with other things that we forget, right? So no one to practice English with is a big issue as well. All right, let's see here. So let's begin. Let's turn on the workbooks to page 18. All right, and in page 18, we will start our lesson. All right, so at school, lesson A, listening. Okay, so complete the conversation, then listen. All right, so before we listen, let's look at the words in our word box here. All right, in our word oval. The first word is concentrate. Concentrate. Second word here is discouraged. Discouraged. The next word, or two words, are index cards. Index cards. The next word's list. List. Next one is paper. Paper. And then the last one is underline. Underline. Okay, so now that we know how to pronounce these words, we can practice these words. Let's see how they fit into our conversation here. All right. Now, if you don't have the book, then the next slide we will go over this together. All right. But you can also scan this barcode and listen. All right, listen along if you get confused by any of these words. All right. So let's take some time to scan this barcode. And if you have your book, you can read the conversation, and then we'll go over it together. All right. So let's do that. Let's stop the video now and scan the barcode, listen to the conversation, and then complete the conversation. Okay, so hopefully you've had some time to read the conversation and listen to it. So let's go over it together and let's see what we come up with. Hopefully yours will match mine. Hopefully mine will match yours. All right. So here's the conversation. We have two people talking, Victor and Frank. Right? So Victor is the first person talking. He says, "Hi Frank, how's it going?" "Not so good. Can you help me? I have so much homework. I have to write a paper for Monday and I have a test tomorrow." Okay, so in the first round of conversations, right, the first one is done for us. So paper, right? I have a paper for Monday. All right. Number two, Victor says, "You need to make a," now I wrote down here, I said a list. Okay, you need to make a list of all your homework, then write the due date of each item on your calendar. Frank says, "Okay, but what about the test?" Victor says, "You should study your textbook," and I wrote down underline all the main ideas. Write the important words on the, I wrote down index cards, and study them in your free time. Do you live near a quiet place where you can, I wrote down concentrate. Frank says, "Well, there's a library a few blocks away." Victor says, "Good. You should study and write your paper there. Don't feel," I said, discouraged. All right. So these are the answers that I got. Hopefully you got the same. If not, let's take some time to go over the conversation again and listen again, and hopefully we can get the same answers. All right. So again, we have concentrate, discouraged, index cards, list, paper, and underline. All right. Okay, let's move on. Exercise 2. Circle the correct answers. Use the information in exercise 1. Okay, so we want to use this information to circle the correct answers in number 2. Okay, so let's take some time. Let's pause the video and let's use the conversation to answer these four. Well, the first one's done for us, right? So Frank needs some B, advice. So that one is done for us. So let's take some time and complete 2 through 4, and we'll come back and we'll see the answers that I got, and hopefully we'll be able to match up. All right, so let's do that now. Okay, so hopefully you had some time to pause the video and to go through our conversation here in A1 to answer our questions in number 2. All right, so let's go through these. First one was done for us. Frank needs some B, advice. Right, this one was done for us. Advice. Number 2, Frank has to, I chose C, plan his work. Frank has to plan his work. All right, number 3, Victor is, I chose B, helpful. Victor is helpful. And then number 4, Victor tells Frank how to A, do his homework. I chose A, do his homework. All right. So those are my answers. Hopefully we got the same. If not, let's let's try to go back over our conversation in A1 and see if we can find these answers. All right? Okay, let's move on. Let's turn the page to page 19. Okay, so on page 19, we will start with number 3. All right? Number 3 is match the sentences. First one is done for us. Tammy can't finish her book. They answered D. She needs to concentrate. Okay. So let's look at this one. Number 2. Bernie underlines the main ideas. Let's see, what would this be? I chose A. He is an active reader. Okay. Number 3. Sue can't remember new words. What would that be? I would say F. She needs to write them on index cards. Number 4. Pam has too much homework. Which one would that be? I would say, in order for her to get organized, she needs to make a list of things to do. Number 5. Paulo is not happy. Okay, if he's not happy, I think it's because he is discouraged. He is discouraged. And then number 6, the book isn't interesting or is not interesting. For that one, I definitely say the reason why the book isn't interesting to this person is because it's boring. It's not a subject. It's not on a subject that they like. So it is boring. All right, so hopefully you took some time and you got those correct. If not, let me know and we can talk about it. All right. You might have said Sue can't remember new words because it's boring, right? We can talk about why that might work or might not work. All right. Pam has too much homework. You might have said she needs to concentrate. That might work too, right? So we can talk about that. Some things work, some things don't. Okay, let's move on. Number 4, complete the sentences, right? So we have 8 sentences here that we need to complete. Number 1 is done for us. I have to make a list of all my homework, all right? So before we pause the video and work on 2 through 8, let's look at the words in our word box here, in our word oval. And let's make sure that we can pronounce these correctly. If you don't know any of these words, let's take some time also to look them up in the dictionary and get a good translation for you. So the first word is active. Active. Boring. Boring. Concentrate. Concentrate. Discouraged. Discouraged. Index cards. Index cards. List. List. Paper. Paper. And then the last one is vocabulary. Vocabulary. Okay, so now that we know how to pronounce these words correctly, let's pause the video and take some time to finish 2 through 8. And then we'll come back and we'll discuss them. And you will see what I got. And then let's see if we can match them up with what you got. Okay? All right, let's do that.